It's been a while since I've last done an aviation news recap, and today there's coverage on Air Canada, a new airline coming out of Japan, Asiana Airlines. Today's video is also sponsored by NordVPN. More on them shortly. AirJapan is the newest medium-haul low-cost carrier, slated to launch in 2024. As a result of this upcoming launch, it has announced further expansion to another Asian city, as it looks to offer customers more selection during the early stages of the launch. After many years of planning, ANA says that AirJapan will officially debut on February 9th, 2024. AirJapan will serve Tokyo Narita to Bangkok with 5 flights per week. This will mark the first route by the airline. The new endeavour by ANA sees AirJapan hoping to offer medium-haul flights from February, but it will face significant competition in a market that ultimately has many other customers there too. AirJapan really wants to offer customers a new style of travel that allows passengers to customize the types of service they may require. This is very similar to many other low-cost carriers that offer cheap tickets and make significant money through add-ons. These can include, but wouldn't be limited to, food, better seating, seat selection, checked baggage, early boarding, and so much more. AirJapan, though, will add service between Tokyo Narita and Seoul from February 22, 2024, as part of its initial route network, and this marks the second announced route from the company. Operating as NQ21 and NQ22, the flight will depart on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, totaling 5 weekly flights. AirJapan, when they launch operations, will fly with the 787 Dreamliner. These 787s coming from ANA are to be configured in an all-economy, as the airline does look to offer a rather attractive price point, because remember, it has a lot of competition on its hands. Moving over to Asiana Airlines, and not for the first time, they've announced plans to begin serving Melbourne Airport, my home. A move from the carrier follows a trial period that was actually initiated in 2019, moving into the early 2020s. From the 26th of December 2023, Asiana Airlines will offer 2 weekly flights set to be operated by the Airbus A350. Seoul to Melbourne will operate as OZ6033 and OZ6043 as the return flight number. While services will launch on the 26th of December 2023, Boxing Day, the airline will conclude this short period of operating on the 29th of February 2024. As a result, this brief stint in Melbourne is very similar to how it operated before the emergence of the global pandemic. Asiana says the flight will be departing Seoul at 8 a.m, arriving into Melbourne at around 8:30 p.m. It'll depart Melbourne at 10 p.m. before arriving back into Seoul the next morning at 6:40. Melbourne's fierce rival Sydney has long had better connections to Seoul than that of Melbourne. Therefore, the return of Asiana Airlines, even on a short-term basis, is a positive move. The holiday season is upon us, and many people will be jumping on board aircraft and travelling either domestically or internationally. While doing so, you'll likely connect to free Wi-Fi networks. This leaves you vulnerable to your data being compromised. Additionally, fake networks can appear while in the airport, with a man-in-the-middle attack. You can be safer though with a click of a button, thanks to NordVPN. NordVPN's mission is to be more than just your regular VPN. They are not only a leading choice in the sector, but have launched several other fantastic endeavours to enhance their portfolio, including threat protection, which is designed solely to defend you against everyday online cyber threats. Think of NordVPN as your perfect way to stay protected while travelling around the world. You can get an exclusive 2-year plan, plus 4 months free at www.nordvpn.com/DJs Aviation, or through the link in the description and pinned comment. This is risk-free, as you'll have Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and all in time for the busy holiday season. Asiana Airlines announced that it would launch service towards Melbourne from Seoul back in 2019. A move from the airline came following surging demand that saw a lack of offerings towards Seoul from the state. They believe they could pounce on this. The launch came on a trial basis, with the airline operating 1 flight per week to gauge the performance and demand. Depending on the overall performance, Asiana would have very happily had a view to make this a more permanent offering. While the airline was offering a weekly service for a brief stint, any plans on having Asiana return permanently were put on hold as the global pandemic arrived. Now though, with recovery in full swing and Asian carriers looking to expand, the airline believes it can relaunch to Melbourne on a short-term basis, and if the route does well, it would look to make it on a more permanent basis, which many people would absolutely love to see. Air Canada has announced significant plans to expand its own services towards critical Asian locations. As part of the announcement, there are new routes, seasonal resumptions, among many other changes. Air Canada says it will improve its Vancouver to Hong Kong connection. The carrier will offer 11 weekly flights for a 2-month period to support the Lunar New Year travel demand period. Following these increased operations, it will return back to offering 10 weekly flights from March 1st to October 26th of 2024. Vancouver to Bangkok will see an extended winter seasonal service going all the way to May. 4 weekly flights have been increased to daily between the January and February peak season. Vancouver to Shanghai will see flights upgauged to the 777-300ER, again to deal with the additional levels of demand. Once the 777-300ER departs from this route, the 7879 will once again return. From April 3rd, 2024, Air Canada will notably launch a new service from Vancouver to Singapore, with 4 flights per week. There will also be increases in service between Vancouver and Osaka. Meanwhile, the aircraft utilized between Vancouver and Narita will also upgrade to a larger Boeing widebody. Vancouver to Seoul will see something similar. But the focus shouldn't just be on Vancouver. Toronto will also see a handful of adjustments to its own schedule towards Asia in response to growing demand. For the entire summer season, Air Canada will upgrade its service to Narita to the 777. Haneda will also see this aircraft during the winter period. Seoul will lastly see daily, year-round flights operated by the Dreamliner. Montreal is the last city to see an adjustment to its flying schedule, specifically towards Asia for the near term. Air Canada will send a Boeing 777-300ER towards Narita for the entire summer season, with daily flights available to its customers. That is going to conclude today's aviation news recap. A massive thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Again, a reminder that you can check out their fantastic and exclusive deal down below in the comments or in the description. If you have any thoughts on any of the topics covered in today's video, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thanks again for your support, take care, and do also be safe. I'll see you next time, the same place, for your latest industry recap.